النجم الأسترالي الكبير راسل كرو هو أحدث المنضمين لكاست فيلم الجديد ثور لاف اند ثاندر، واللي بتنتجه شركة مارفل، وبيقوم ببطولته كريس هيمثورث بدور ثور بالإضافة للنجمة ناتالي بورتمان، ومن المنتظر مشاركة كريستيان بيل في دور الشرير. الفيلم بدأ تصويره في أستراليا وبيقوم بإخراجه تايكا واتيتي. دخل الجزء الجديد من فيلم بورات موسوعة جانيس للأرقام القياسية باعتباره بيحمل أطول عنوان فيلم تم ترشيحه للأوسكار، وبيتكون العنوان الأصلي من 18 كلمة: بورات subsequent movie film delivery of the prodigious bribe to American regime for make benefit once a glorious nation of Kazakhstan. فيلم جودزيلا vs كونغ بدأ عرضه عالمياً من أيام، وهو الفيلم اللي بيجمع الوحشين الكبار كونغ وجودزيلا في فيلم واحد، وده واحد من مصادر الحماس للفيلم إننا هنشوف معركة بينهم. هنعرف من أبطال الفيلم والمخرج انطباعاتهم عن المعركة بين الوحشين.
This is our only chance. We have to take it.
Well, no, especially because they're divas. That's what's so difficult. It's like you go onto set, they don't look at you in the eye, it's in their contracts, whatever. I found it really difficult to work with specifically Kong, just because he thought he ruled the roof. I was like, oh god, he needs to know his boss. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to share the screen, you know, when you just want your close up and Zilla's like rare, and you're like, bro, calm down.
We need Kong.
The world needs him
To stop what's coming.
and this child. She's the only one he'll communicate with.
I guess these two titans fighting it out, you know, Godzilla versus Kong. When you go to the movies, if you can, or you watch it on your iPad or your phone, you want to watch Godzilla and King Kong fight, like have a scrap, you know what I mean? So I think it's so cool that we were able to do this big monster film, but then we were also to put some really good meaning behind it and just have some cool characters working with Millie and Brian, you know, so that was cool.
I knew that they had a bond. She had nowhere to go, so I made a promise to protect her. And I think that in some way, Kong did the same.
It was worth it. And especially since we were on the same team. Like Julie and I were Team Godzilla, so we at least knew where we stood. You know what I mean? We knew who we were. We knew who we were assisting. We knew who we ride or die for. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to say that it was like West Side Story, but it was kind of like West Side Story, like, cause you know, like you had Team Kong that was like, oh, you know, we want to get out of Middle Earth, and then you got Team Godzilla. It's like, well, we run the Earth, so like, what's?
I was a big fan of Kong growing up. I always felt like it was so iconic, and I really enjoyed reading this script because it felt like, you know, it had a different take on female characters as well. I feel like a lot of the times we've seen a lot of damsel in distress versions of this film, and they were great at writing this script because it just felt like all the female characters in this movie were the heart and soul of the story. It's Godzilla.
There's this sense of, yes, we're taking this seriously, but also we know what these movies are, and we know that they are spectacle and fun, and also like from a perspective of the actor, it's kind of, there's a certain amount of pressure taken off of you because you kind of know that you're not the stars, you know, the monsters are the big guys, and you're just there for the ride a little bit. We come in, you already know the rest. We never settle 'cause we know we're best. Here we go.
It was always important to try to make sure that that the human story was always intertwined with the monster story. And it's really funny to talk about a film in terms of like the humans and the monsters, you know, but that's how people think about these things, and that's what these movies are, you know, and so you're always trying to figure out a way to keep them as close together as possible. And so the design of this movie always had that sort of like, we got Team Godzilla on one hand with Millie Bobby Brown kind of running that side of the story, and then you have Team Kong on the other side of the film with Alexander Skarsgård sort of, you know, spearheading that part of the adventure.
Godzilla's out there and he's hurting people and we don't know why.
There's something provoking him that we're not seeing here.
I'm of the same opinion.
I think there's a bit of the climate aspect is there. In a way, it's, you know, in the beginning, the reason we have to move Kong is because the climate is changing on Skull Island, so it's part of it. And then you can obviously see both Godzilla and Kong as an allegory for Mother Earth and what happens when humans believe that they are the apex predators and that we can act with impunity and just drain the planet of all its resources, and what happens when Mother Earth comes to kind of put us in our place and with our inflated egos and our hubris, and then Godzilla and Kong is that manifestation of Mother Earth and the kind of the revenge of that.
I keep reaching for greatness because I'm built from it.
Who bows to who?
Nobody gon' stop for me. Here we go.
Kong bows to no one.
Here we go.
نزل التردد الجديد 11785 الاستقطاب رأسي، معدل الترميز 27500، معامل تصحيح الخطأ 5/6.
نجوم رمضان معاك على واتشت، اشترك وما تخليش حاجة تفوتك.